Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Live Daily. Sean Dyche has just done his press conference ahead of Everton's trip to Chelsea on Monday. It's still a good few days to before the game, and if I've known anything, it's take no team news and no fitness news with any clarity when they do press conferences this far ahead of games. But joined by Dave Feely in the studio. He did say, Dave, in that press conference that James Garner's took a knock, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's nursing a slight hamstring worry, but he didn't seem overly concerned about those two, and he did say that Arnaud Danjuma's playing in a bounce game tomorrow, so therefore if he comes through that, he'll be in the squad for Chelsea on Monday.
Yes. The one that would concern me immediately is Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Less so, hamstring is really bad at this stage of the season, because if it goes, his whole game is about bursts to jumping, turning, particularly sprinting, but also shooting. And hamstring, if it goes now, he's out for the rest of the season. And Chelsea, with respect to that, every game you want to win in the Premier League, of course you do. That won't be the game that keeps us in this league. It'll be the home games, as we've just discussed previously. So that would concern me. The fact that he said it was a slight one, and he's got a history kind of in that area. Okay, fine. It might be that Beto starts against Chelsea and he alternates where it come on for the... And Danjuma, as you've just mentioned, hopefully being fit, we've got to take into consideration tomorrow and the fact that he's been out for a while. But even if it's for 15 minutes, Calvert-Lewin might be the second substitution as opposed to the first on 65 minutes, as he would normally do, rotate the pair of them. So maybe, but I would be more concerned about the fact that we've got 3 games in 6 days, and that's where we need our seasonal hang on the whole thing about it. So
would you leave him for Monday?
I wouldn't say I'd leave him. I'd nurse him, perhaps, and try and, depending on the game,
of course,
we might be in a position where, like last season, didn't we get a draw there with Alice Sims last year? Well, you might be able to bring him on with 6-8 minutes to go, and not necessarily to go and score the winner, but to hold the ball up so we can get runners and get down the end of there and prevent them from scoring. I don't know. I'm just imagining scenarios, but I wouldn't be looking to start him if he's carrying any sort of injury, hamstring injury particularly.
No, I think you're absolutely right, just for the simple reason that those games are coming thick and fast now, and a hamstring injury, even a slight one, is kind of like a month.
You're done.
3 to 4 weeks, that'll bring you into the middle of May, and then Arsenal away, it's not even worth it. So Everton have got to nurse him, haven't they, really? Like I said, he didn't seem too concerned about it, but I don't think he gives much away, Sean Dyche, unless the player is totally out. So James Garner once seemed as though
he didn't specify what it was. He just said he had a knock. Yeah, that could be on his, like he got a kick on his foot, or someone clapped his knee. I mean, he didn't specify it. So the inference I would take from that is that it wasn't really that bad, because I think if he had a thought in his mind, he'd be looking to head the media off at the pass by saying he got a knock on his knee, or is this or that or the other, and we're going to look at it again.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
He just said it was a knock, whereas with Calvert-Lewin, he specified exactly what the problem was, kind of thing.
Danjuma, obviously, you were at Fulham and he got injured. He played quite well that night, really, but he hasn't done anything, has he, this season?
He hasn't, but he's had opportunities. No, he's been underperforming when he's been there, that's true. But Tottenham, if I was him, I think he missed the chance to get the fans at least on side. Granted, I don't blame him for hitting the first one. If I was a lone player, particularly a striker, I would want my name on the board, basically. So I don't blame him. But to get 2 in 3 or 4 minutes and then do the same the second time and miss both of them, I think he regressed in terms of support. Individual, particular, specific supports for him, because it's a team game at the end of the day. And I get that strikers need to score goals and all that, but actually strikers can score goals and the team still get relegated. teams need to win games before, and strikers can get away with not scoring goals. We've done it for years here. So I think that didn't help him. His injuries haven't helped him. I wouldn't imagine that they're looking to renew his contract, but he's got to go somewhere. So, he wasted his time at Tottenham. He may as well have come and sat here with you two, because he literally didn't get a look in. So this now is the egg time is nearly out of sand. So if I was him, I would be looking to make an impact. And even if it is, as it's likely to be, please Lord that Calvert-Lewin isn't out for any length of time or missing any games in particular. He needs to be an impact striker, which is basically scoring or creating goals in the next 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And if I was him, that's what I'd be looking to do. I do believe he's got it in his locker. I don't think that his decision making, what I've seen up to now, his decision making isn't the best, to be honest. But then, again, as we just discussed earlier, if Dyche was to go against his own methodology, and the last 15 minutes in games we weren't winning necessarily, to go at least 3 strikers, thereby stretching the defence, thereby giving McNeil and perhaps Onana or another runner holes to run through, and not allowing them to make everything compact at the back. Dan Juma, Calvert-Lewin, and whoever the third striker would be, I would use committee's pace, actually, is what I would do. Not necessarily as the vanguard, as the pinpoint of any move like that, just to move the opposition around and to take them towards their own goal, because in games of late, the last 4, 5, 6 games, that's been a problem to us. Where the goalkeeper just ends up launching it from, our half.
What's rubbish about that is it doesn't take much to negate that, does it? Long ball. All right, if you're going to let Calvert-Lewin win the flick, then just drop off 5 yards and pick it up. And because Everton don't have... No, I'm saying for the opposition. They just go, let him win the first contact and we'll have it, because we don't have anyone running beyond them, which I find really mad. And in fact, I was saying this when we done the Bournemouth game. It was the only time we had a runner off Dom was in the first half. The ball come and he flicked it on. Tarkowski ran off him, laid it back to him. Calvert-Lewin had the shot and the keeper made the save. And it was like... That's the only time we've done it. Yeah. But at least it was someone going, he's going to win it.
Agreed.
We just don't do it. I just find it a bit mad.
But it's counterintuitive. If I'm talking about from a coach's perspective, it's counterintuitive that you've just watched it happen. It's the easiest tactic, like you've just suggested, for the opposition to negate, yet you maintain doing it. That's Einstein, and continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results is the definition of insanity. It's like, come on, boys, use it on big money. Not necessarily our manager, but this league, use it all on big money. We expect at least think outside the box, at least attempt something, be seen to be doing something different, which is why I said to you before, at Newcastle, I think he saw the writing on the wall, and to go, he's waited all season to bring 3 substitutions on at the same time, with still enough time in the game to be able to influence it. That was the difference. You can do it with 8 minutes to go. And it's literally, you're rolling the dice. But he did allow enough time in the game to be able to influence it, and that's what happened. We were unlucky not to win the game in the end, when they should have been out of sight at half time. And Jimmy Garner, like you just suggested earlier, he was unlucky, but that was kind of against the run of play at the time.
It was just a pot shot.
By the end, we were getting round the back. McNeil was getting on the ball. Even Ashley Young was getting on the ball on the other side. And now we had runners and a centre forward who were now a threat, and they were now panicking and looking at the clock. Well, you've got to take that as being the crux of your game plan for these, particularly the games against the bottom of the sides who are in and around us at the bottom.
Do you think this is a discussion that a lot of Evertonians have? And there's both arguments. I'm on the side that they could be better. Do you think this team could play better? We've got what we've got. There's not much we can do about it. But do you think there could be more to come from this team, as in, or do you think they're playing to the best of their ability and that's that?
No, they're not playing to the best of their ability, because I was perfectly happy with this season up till Burnley away, because I go to all the away games and basically I haven't seen us put wins together like that. And it wasn't about this wasn't from an NFL playbook where you go, that's the first, that's the second, that's the third, that's the fourth. It was finding a way. Nottingham Forest away was a case in point. Brentford, we were the better side.
Yeah.
West Ham, we were the better side. Then they came into it and we held on. That's game management.
Yeah.
But Nottingham Forest was a war of attrition. We scored a peeler of a goal.
We did.
Scored a cracker.
Yeah.
But there was still long enough in the game to go to be able to lose that game and certainly to draw that game.
Yeah.
And they held on. And the mindset was coming through. Aston Villa in the Cup was magnificent. The performance, considering we'd just been battered there 4-0, first game of the season.
Yeah.
So I can see...
Crystal Palace away.
Crystal Palace away.
3-2.
It was a great game, actually. It was a good game of football end to end. And Garner Gate, you live and die, never see that again, by the way. But no, it was the fact that we had runners.
Yeah.
That was the crucial aspect of it. If you look, Ducordi passes the ball to him. So it wasn't about the strikers and the normal methodology of getting forward. We found a way. And all of those were slightly different. So yes, I would suggest they can get better, certainly. And they have not been playing as a unit collectively up to what we know they can do. It's not a great deal of, it's not a quantum leap of improvement, but it's certainly improvement is available there. But I think the stress of this drip effect of the points and the stress of that and the going in and people losing form, as happens in every season at every club, by the way. But our resources are such that we're still having to pick most 90% of them every week anyway. If you look, you know what I mean? Let's have it right. I'm not surprised.
Well, do you think the managers use the subs well enough then?
No.
That's a criticism.
I think that would be the main criticism of him, is that he's formulaic. I mean, he's been called formulaic in many things, but if it was me, and I've seen every minute of every game since he's been here, I would say that that's the first thing, because if my first impression of his tenure to date would be that we've mostly been killed in games when we haven't been great. We've been doing all right, sometimes behind, sometimes drawing, sometimes even leading. And the other team's substitutions kill us. Derby games, write them straight off, straight away. The other team's substitutions, so that means their manager is using that as a card. We refuse to play. And I that's why Newcastle stood out to me.
Yeah.
Because he did do it. And it wasn't because anyone was necessarily injured, lying on the floor with his head bleeding, and he had no choice but to do it. He did it as an offensive move, and it paid off. To an extent. We didn't lose the game, and that point might turn out to be crucial, by the way. So I would say, but that would be the aspect. The most moaning I ever heard in the ground is not when the team gets announced, it's when the substitutions get announced. So I would say that the vox pop from just without me being involved, just while I hear in and around and travelling and outside and before and after, that would be the area they could improve, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we go to Chelsea, obviously we haven't won there for 30 years this year, isn't it? Since Paul Rideout had it back in under Joe Royle in 94. And we've had opportunities to win there in the past, and, you know, particularly the Martinez one, Funes Mori and then John Terry equalised in the 98th minute.
Yeah.
But
one in the cup.
They're not, one in the cup on pens, but they're not a... I look at Chelsea and I watched them on Sunday at Sheffield United, and they've got good individuals, but you look at them and think, it's no surprise Burnley nearly beat them at Stamford Bridge the other round. Burnley at the bar in the 98th minute. They had 10 men from the 40th minute, Burnley, and had nearly as many chances as Chelsea. And they're there to be got at. And Burnley don't score loads of goals, and we don't, but we're better defensively. But it's a mindset, and it is, can we score the goals when they matter? That's the crux, isn't it, away from home?
That's every game. Pardon me, I've just swallowed a mint. But I look at Chelsea's squad, plus the manager, and think, how have you ended up there?
Yeah.
We've just been talking about substitutions. You can literally rotate international, international left and international. Cole Palmer looks to be the sign of the season, actually, is what he looks. So, all those things considered, you'd look at them and think, on paper, they should beat us 3 or 4-0. But then they should have beat Sheffield United and Burnley and all the other games they contrive to throw away or give up losing positions in. So that being the case, we would have to go there and say that the methodology you do here is you're 65 minutes, 70 minutes in the game and you're still in the game.
Yeah.
You have to regularly probe, even if you're not that dangerous, you have to keep putting it in their defence's head that you're looking to get behind them, because the recent memory of their defence is letting people score against them.
Well, they're averaging conceding 2 goals a game over the last half a dozen games.
But
at least
that's
2
a
goals
side
a game.
with Cole Palmer in it.
Yeah.
Who keeps pulling them out to shite,
He
basically.
does, yeah.
So if we go there on Monday, and I will be going there on Monday, and he gets 2 in the first half, and it ends up 3-0, no one's really going to moan, because we'll walk outside and say he would walk into our team. He would be captain of our team, and someone else would come and buy him by the end of that season. So he's mustard. However, you need to play in the same way as teams do it to us.
Yeah.
It's your own insecurities what kill you in this league. Yeah. So you focus on them, magnify them. Well, these have got their own, and we're talking about Thiago Silva here, by the way, some legendary footballers they've got, certainly in his case, but they keep repeating the same mistakes. Pardon me. But the absolute operative aspect of it is you've got to be in the game with 70, 75 minutes and then look to play on their own head, because instead of them bursting forward on you like Lampard and John Terry et al., these are like, well, I better have them because look what happened at Sheffield.
Well, we done that last year. We were behind twice, weren't we, last year in the game, and obviously the Corey equalised with it, and then the Ellis Sims goal,
Didn't Branthwaite do the same the year before that as well?
He under Benitez, late goal, coming in at the far stick. So it is, you do have to just sort of kind of hang on in there, like you say, and then.
But that's easy said, because we'll have our own fans in the grounds, attack, pass there, do this. Yeah. Our whole season now will depend on game management and cool heads on the park.
Yeah.
If we can't apply those aspects, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first hurdle.
Yeah.
Can I have a drink of that water, please?
Go ahead, mate.
Sorry to drink your water, but
go ahead. Celtic Vape says, long time no see, Dave. Welcome back. Graham says, great to see Dave back on Toffee TV. Nice one, lads. And Jay says, brilliant to see Dave back. Brian says, just caught up with Club Call. Interesting that Brentford are encouraging their supporters to go to their games. I know for a fact they've returned half of their allocation for Goodison Park, as I have bought one. So I shall be in the upper Bullens for the last of the trilogy of pivotal week in Everton's history. I'm just not sure that we shall win it. Well, they've put on 3 coaches, Brentford, and they've cut the ticket prices to half price for the Goodison games to try and get. It is on telly, it is R5, but they've done that to try to make sure they sell out their allocation. Have some more.
You can't blame them.
Oh, no, I mean, Ped, just while Dave's joking.
Dave is literally joking.
You'd expect them to do something like that. You'd try and get as many of their fans as possible. I'm thinking that they've done this in response to sending the tickets back for the game.
Yeah, I seen that a couple of days ago that they were charging 15, which is it's crazy, that, isn't it? When you think about like all the things people have gone through to get them down to £30, and then having to sell them for. I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, people need to do whatever they need to do. Times are tough, and it's it's R5 kickoff, and I'm not going to sit here and tell Brentford fans what they should or shouldn't be doing. I mean, I don't go to away games, and cost has to always be factored into that. Dave goes up and that, and a lot of people, do, and it's incredible, our fan base, but it's not reciprocated everywhere. And you do, it is strange when you do see these teams who don't have any issue selling out and struggle so much with their away support. It is a culture, isn't it? It is, Dave can tell us obviously more about that. It is a culture, and some clubs just don't have that culture, or certainly for a club like Brentford, I imagine, who have played in the lower divisions, and the standards of the grounds they have to go to are so poor that why would, and the prices have been quite aren't great as well at lower end, and maybe you just get into that culture or you don't get into that culture, and it's a great move by and we've done stuff like that in the past, haven't we?
I used to rinse it,
you know, and you know,
Fulham at QPR's ground, put on about 15 coaches.
Sports Page, I remember they paid for it before they even came in as the sponsor. We used to, I think even was the one, Dave, where they give you breakfast as well at Goodison, I remember.
That's probably because it's me, though.
No, I'm sure they did.
No, there was. There was an early one that you might
I know, I do.
It was probably that Man City half 11 one.
Not anything at all, nothing.
Shut up.
If Dave Kelly was here now, we never mentioned the food bank.
No, but this is the one that they were on.
But it is I think there's a bit of a blight on football at the moment where fans are. Clearly, we know the tragedy chanting is terrible, but there's also the other side of things. You know, we've had it for years, obviously, about, you know, on the dole and all that. Which, I mean, how anyone can afford to go to football matches these days. You know, even working, we know is hard. But I don't really like when people go, you can't fill your ground and all this. It's just like, but
we've got a waiting list.
It's hard. Football is very expensive. Not just to go to a game, but everything that it entails.
See, you said about me going to game. I do go to games, but I don't subscribe to any football on the telly. So we add that up.
Yeah, so you're
spending that. But actually, the operative aspect of this is that, in my personal opinion, Brentford are the least likely to be relegated of the teams concerned. Perhaps Crystal Palace, who are points ahead of them, they're even less likely. But Brentford would be the next cab off the rank, and not just because of the fact that they've already got the points, but the games left. They go to Luton this weekend, I believe, and I think they might even play Forest. But there's games there they can still see points in. They don't go to Arsenal last game of the season and they haven't got to play Liverpool, is my point. So I don't see that. But the fact that the club are already coming out to get them to go to this particular game, and I don't know whether they've done it for Luton.
Well, just let me just show one other thing. There's another thing about this as well. This game is not confirmed to be on the Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
It can be moved to the Sunday, so you've got to factor that in as well.
Why is it getting moved?
Because of Man City in the Champions League.
Okay.
Which, so again,
City got to beat Real Madrid.
So something, again, out of our control, out of Brentford's control.
So
how can that get... Sorry to jump in, but City play next week.
Yeah.
Right? How the... How can Brentford a few days before get moved?
That's crazy. Well, I mean, we've just seen a weekend where effectively on Saturday, Spurs played Nottingham Forest at 6 o'clock because Manchester United and Liverpool were on at 3:30.
Is that why that was?
That's why they moved it to then.
You're kidding me?
No, because the game was on the telly.
Because you can't have
you
can't have Liverpool Man United after 4 o'clock because of trouble. So that means you can't have a 1 o'clock game.
So then, excuse me, but the precedence is our 12 kickoff. So have it at 12 and everything's good. I thought that's another thing. What's obscene is this. I saw games this season. I think it was in the FA Cup. 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. Now I do every game. Or I travel there. I told you that's the only expense to get out of me. This game of football, the home games and the away games. No subscriptions, nothing.
Yeah.
So, but that moving it, we, for example, our last 3 away games. Newcastle Tuesday night, Chelsea Monday night, Fulham, Luton. Rather, I always mix them up in my head. Luton Friday night. That's 3 weekday evenings, 1,160 miles in total, and no one says a word.
I've said this before. We've talked about this. The one thing that will solve it, and this mightn't, because what you just said. But if they got a streaming app where all the games were in one place, we'd solve all this in one go. And it would bring in more money to the Premier League. But it would solve all this because they need to get rid of Monday Night Football. The Germans got rid of it because they said Monday's not a day of the weekend. Simple as that. Get rid of that. Play all the other games at standard times, because if you can watch them at any time, why do you need to move them? And then you can have a game on a Monday.
Also, it removes
Sunday, sorry.
It removes what you just said, and he said on that interview there. We'll play Chelsea on Monday, for example, already knowing how the other teams have gotten on. That's why on last game of the season, everyone has to kick off at the same time. There's an inherent advantage there. You might not use it, but that knowledge itself allows you to make substitutions at different times.
But they build that, don't they? Sky love that.
Well,
but
that's the narrative, and that's the problem, the 24-hour...
Well, you know Arsenal, sorry, can I just...
Go ahead.
know Arsenal next week, is it this weekend or next weekend, sorry? No, this weekend. They're the only team in all of the teams left in the Champions League not to be playing on Saturday. And it's because they're playing a team who are playing tonight.
Oh,
and doesn't that just make another... Isn't that just another stupid...
Why can't the UEFA... Sorry, my age. Why can't the Europa League game be moved to a Wednesday? I know you'd say, well, it's Thursday night footy, but...
It takes precedent,
I've seen other games kick off on a Wednesday,
because
6 o'clock, like the odd get like maybe a team involved in like
so Arsenal,
West Ham had to play a game on a Wednesday, so why wouldn't you for that? Because Arsenal are in the Champions League, so you'd be saying to UEFA, well, hang on, this team's in the Champions League and they're in the Europa League.
That lack of uniformity, absence of uniformity, it just leaves yourself open to accusations of complicity.
I don't even think PSG have got a game. I think theirs has been cancelled by the French FA to get them through.
To help them. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to need it now, aren't they, after Barca done them?
Well, are Barca that great?
No. And I suppose the away goals don't count, do they? So it's just a 3-2 win. What, in terms of like the streaming, because we asked one, dead interested to get your take on this, because obviously you do go to every away game as well.
Yeah. Even Wales, Arsenal's at 4:30. It's not even like they
4:30.
It's a 4:30.
So make it as late as they can. That's nonsense. If there was a streaming app and it meant that the Monday night games could go, would you be happier with that, or are you not really bothered? Because the way we look at it right now, you've got different companies just plucking times out of like last week or a couple of weeks ago. Manchester United were at Brentford at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, right? Which to me is disgusting. Yeah. Not only, and I know, listen, that might still there because they might go, that's our prime slot now because it gets the world, whatever, right? Yeah. But thinking like the United fans coming home from London at 10:30, they don't care.
The point.
We've been, you can see, we had this argument, not argument, we're both arguing against the thing.
Yeah.
Every year for the FA Cup semi-finals, every year, games kicking off at 5:30 at Wembley in FA Cup semi-final, and the trains back home to say Liverpool stop at 6:45.
So what time like, the trains on Monday when we play Chelsea?
Oh, that's what I mean. They'd be not on, are they? Yeah. There won't be any, will there?
Point. Yeah.
And football fans are just, and we saw in COVID, right? Yeah, but we saw in COVID, we got something that we'd never seen before, which was a test case to go, all right, you're only really asking paying customers. Yeah. There's your product without fans. Yeah. It was crap.
No, they'll revert to the Stretford ends getting done up and we'll paint people on a ball.
AI.
Arsenal.
Well, we had it, didn't we? They had AI stuff. They had
AI.
The worst one, I think, is when the Ryder Cup was on, they purposely put a terrible game on the Sunday, and it was like a 1:30 kickoff.
So
all the other games were on the Saturday. So Sky had the full hit of, no, you're watching the Ryder Cup, but I don't even like that. I'm not even asked. Yeah. I might turn on for the last 5 minutes if Europe are winning. I couldn't care less any other way. But they're going, no, we don't want any competition today. We don't want you watching this. We want you watching.
I don't watch football on television.
Dave, I don't
make... put me on television that much. I should have employed a lawyer to get some money back off them, actually, because I seem to find myself on the screen quite a lot. But so I'm not really the test audience for this. But speaking as a fan, I don't agree with Monday Night Football. I think it's just a reason to employ people in Sky or BT. It's usually Sky, I believe. Whoever's Amazon studio, and give them exorbitant wages to talk nonsense over an extended period because they want to fill the time slot on the TV. It's ideal for this play Thursday night. I don't know what age it was before Everton started playing. You can pick every day of the week and never play on a Thursday. Unless Europe, granted, they've had to do it to gerrymander it because the Champions League has blown out of all proportion. It used to be one night. Tuesday and Wednesday would be sufficient.
That was it, for Europe.
Knockout, by the way. But you'd play on a Wednesday for in the UEFA League, or the UEFA Cup, as it was then. So no, they want this rolling coverage thing, and So on the Monday, they'll have it. So if there's no game on Tuesday, it's international, for example, or whatever these in the cup week, they can talk about the Tuesday and then build up to the next one. And it's that whole mindset.
Sorry, Dave, I'm disappointed in you.
Oh yeah,
because there's a Thursday game from the 80s that is wasn't a big game, but
Friday we played at Leeds and Chelsea.
Thursday night, a Merseyside derby.
Oh, is it Wilkinson's
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I thought you would have known. that, Dave.
It was just
the hazy.
That was just an easy game.
That was a shit one because the fixed congestion was crazy. I was present. I can't deny it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, we played the last 3 games.
We had that season. We played West
They were all after
Brom
the
on
cup
a
final as well.
Tuesday and West Ham on a Friday night.
They were all after the European Cup final and the FA Cup. How mad's that?
Like James Anderson was opening the bowling from the other end. It's literally the cricket season by then. But my point was was a wider one to say we as fans, particularly travelling fans, we're an afterthought to these people now.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the fact that if it wasn't for us, your clubs wouldn't be alive for you to milk them like a cash cow these days. But that's just capitalism.
And yet the mad thing is, Dave, and this is what argument we always say is, if you you could make more money in putting a streaming app on, and it would solve all these problems. That's the mad thing.
And it benefit the clubs.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have to change all the kick-off times.
Stop me going.
No, I'm saying it would make it easier for people to watch it on TV, and also wouldn't mess up the schedules because you could every game be on live.
No.
You wouldn't be getting sent somewhere.
But you're right. They choose the Monday Night Football.
It's a manoeuvre, as if to say we're trying. They're not. They're looking to make money, but at least you could stand in front of the fan representative boards, Dave Kelly and the food bank people, as he represents the food bank people, who are magnificent, by the way. Fan support and food banks, support them, take a bag, whether it be whichever team you support, always take a can. Yes, we can. I like to do that.
Nice.
He doesn't pay me.
You've just done that.
And it's also a good place to meet up and have a chat, isn't it, Dave?
Like we did last Saturday.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Like we did this very last Saturday. But I'm saying, it's a gesture. It can be seen as a gesture towards the fans and saying, look, we're trying. We understand that. We went from Bournemouth on the Saturday to Newcastle on the Sunday night, and it was 900 miles or 800 and something miles, and no one gave a shite.
No one cares, mate.
The first one was a 16-hour trip. The latter one was like 12 and a bit, and that's only because it was an evening kickoff and we got there late. And I got in the house about 20 past 2, 20 to 3 maybe. And so
no one cares.
It's not about me. This is a generic thing to every team.
Every fan.
You just said about Man United kicking off in London at 8 o'clock at night
on a Saturday night.
Saturday night. Restrictive. Yeah, anyway, but
no, because Germany, like we always can. And I know you're a big thingy of German football and all that. Their fans just went, we're playing Mondays, mate. End off.
And they stuck together.
They had a contract, didn't they?
Stuck together, didn't they?
Stuck together. Club, that's right.
They stuck together and they just went, right, we'll cut it then. So they play Friday night because they say Friday is the weekend. Now, some people might go, I love Friday night footy, whatever. If you're going to have those Friday night games, at least, what I think they should do, at least try to put it with teams who are quite close together if you're going to do it. Yeah. Remember us playing Burnley a few years ago, Goodison on a Friday night, Marco, last game of the season.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
It's not great, but Burnley's an hour away and you can putting teams in London
even Luton.
Even
Luton, it's preclusive.
Friday night Luton.
It's preclusive, but surprised me.
James says the third goal against Newcastle showed that this team can play some sort of football. I know people will say it was 2-0 and 2 minutes left, but they had the composure to play it down the back, still go long in the end. The team is capable of a lot more football than huffball.
That's a fair point.
Well, I said this about Kieran McKenna the other day with Ipswich. All day last night, I was fuming with them. But he took over and they were 18th, 19th in League One.
Yeah.
He hasn't spent a ton of money. They play great attacking football. Those players are the same players who a lot of Ipswich fans were saying were crap. They got a new coach in. He coached them properly. And now, when you watch them, they're a good footballing side. Nathan Broadhead's doing really well for them. They look like a really good side. I think if Sean Dyche could get another attacking coach in, and worked on principles for overlapping fullbacks. Now, I get the arguments against that. It's not what he's ever done and he'll never do it, okay. But I do believe that this team could get better.
I will counter that by saying, Mykolenko, most people will say Jared Brandtwaite. In my opinion, I've seen every minute of this season live to date. Mykolenko's our best player this season. He's certainly the most improved.
He's the most improved.
The reason I'm going to interject on it is because this season turned round after the start what we had at Brentford, actually.
Yeah, they were tremendous at Brentford.
Who did it. Mykolenko got round the back, started crossing balls across, and all of a sudden we had 3 and 4 players around their area. We took that methodology and won other away games away from home. As I recall, I was still outside in the street.
In the side.
Patterson was also playing. I was still outside in the street queuing up because Dave Kelly didn't get me through he's got a stick and the disabled fast track thing. He took me mate with him instead of me and left me in the queue. And by the time I got in the ground at Crystal Palace in the league, he'd already scored, Mykolenko. So I'm saying to you, we can do that.
No.
He's actually
what's
utilised. Well, that's fear, you would suggest. It's more like a boxer covering up.
Do you think it's a fair comment, the one that's levelled at him, which is he'd rather not lose than win the game?
I get it. I understand that. I remember the gaffer saying to me once, and I was doing my book, I think. I imagine I was doing my book, actually. And he said to me, always remember...
Howard Kendall, that is.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
I was talking to me mate, by the way.
Go ahead.
But no, true, Howard.
Yeah.
And I wasn't name dropping. It just came into my head when you said it. I remember him saying to me that, remember, David, when you walk up the tunnel, you've already got a point. So the minimum requirement is that you keep hold of the point you've got as you walk out near the music.
Yeah.
So that was in a game where only 2 points at that time, for the most part, not all of it, for the most part, it was only 2 points. So they'd say you keep hold of what you've got and then try and improve upon it. But what you don't do is lose what you've already got. So I can. He is an old school, new school manager. In other words, he's in this era. However, he could easily have managed
being
back in the
other area.
He's kind of basic, formulaic is perhaps a better term to apply to it.
Yeah.
He's formulaic in the way that others were at that time. The biggest critique of him would be that he doesn't think outside the box when they send him on courses all around Europe now to do that precise thing. Yeah. And he keeps coming back and reverting to the same methodology. So yes, I would say that. But there will be an element of fear there. You can see it in the players' faces.
But in the league now, and again, I watched some championship games last night. I watched Ipswich and Watford last night. Yeah. Tom Cleverley, the Watford manager.
I know.
It's incredible, looking sharp on the line.
Cuckoo stuff.
But a lot of teams, and certainly in the Premier League, just go for the win, no matter what. And it's why Luton are in with the chance, because even though they're basic, now people might turn around and go, they're still below Everton, and I get that, 100% I get it. They're below Everton because, in my opinion, they're not as good as Everton, but they're not. They've got a couple of players who are daft, but doesn't mean they're as good as Everton. But they go at everyone, and a lot of what you find in the game now is it's a lot. I use this with Ped the other week, like snooker. Like I watch snooker, I don't watch it all the time, but it used to be dominated by like Steve Davis and safety play and the defensive side, and then Ronnie O'Sullivan's the most attacking. And all the younger ones now are just attacking. And I think it's like that in football. I think the MO for most managers in football is attack-minded.
It is, but I would counter that by saying Luton have lost as many games in the last 5 minutes.
No, they have.
As they've won with it. So you've got to factor that in.
There's got to be a balance.
And maybe, I'm not defending him, I'm just trying to give a counter-argument to the theory that he looks at this team and the first thing he looks at is an absence of pace. So in order to be trying to win games in the last 10 minutes, unless you're firing in rockets from 30 yards, and we've lived and we'll probably die watching this football club, and that's not been the case with us for many years. So pace, the absence of pace would suggest that it's grinding, it's workmanlike, it's more of a war of attrition. And he mentioned it before in that press conference. He said the term ugly goals. Coming from a man who looks like him, that I'm not trying to be personal, but I'm just saying you'd refrain from calling anything on the planet ugly. However, you'd say that's if he's saying that live in a press conference, it's kind of already in his head, to be honest with you. And I think if we three Evertonians who go all the time would look at that and say, that's our problem. We can't kill teams on the break, so we have to. I mean, we have that lad shouting out the Newcastle game. That was a case in point, actually. And Jimmy Garner's ball for Beto in the West Ham home game also worked, actually. And I think Bournemouth at home you might be able to throw in there, but they're 3 isolated incidents. Even the games we won away from home, Calvert-Lewin did marvellous at West Ham. Garner Gay did something we'll probably never see from him again at Crystal Palace. I thought the fullbacks were more intrinsic in the Brentford win than anywhere else. Dwight McNeil pulls a worldie out of the bag at Forest. And that's about our lot this season.
Branthwaite a worldie at Brighton. We didn't win it, but
no, it was a worldie at Brighton, by the way, and we should have won that game. However, I would say that's the biggest weakness is that we haven't got that in our locker, which is the reason why I said earlier about Committee. I'd use him as a distraction tactic and just introduce him to put it in the heads, particularly Thiago Silva, and say, in a minute, he's going to have you in a foot race. We're going to bring the ball out there to separate you two, and then he's going to isolate you in a foot race. He can't really finish. He's finished like a 15-year-old, but all you got to do is give him 2 or 3 chances, and you never know, he might bury one. Our last 2 scorers here, 2 of our last 2 scorers here were Branthwaite and Ellis Sims. It can be done. So we'd say, okay, do that. Well, he does allow you to at least be able to move the opposition down the park and bring their midfield back instead of sitting on top of you.
We'll see. Brian says we don't know if it's to be played on Saturday or Sunday. Brentford, of course, because of Man City Champions League. The uncertainty has cost me loads in plane ticket price. Brian comes over from Sweden, flies over from Sweden. James says the 3 p.m. blackout is a joke. On non-league weekend, they'd just gone and had the Wrexham game on at 3 o'clock. The weekend made so many people go and watch non-league, but they'd rather try and keep people in by putting the Wrexham game.
Isn't it actually about the pools? Wasn't it brought in? Who does the pools anymore? I believe it was.
It probably was. It's probably one of those things that
will be.
The original point has been lost.
The pools would seriously, they had heft, power in this game, and I'm sure. Google it. I'm sure it'll be there. I think it was introduced for the pools to prevent people having an advantage because it was the picking the games, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's
like the fixed odds.
I've always said I'm always going to go and watch Everton at home. I wouldn't say I'm not going, and I don't think a lot of people. But
it seems in a game where they modernise everything. If I told my long dead father that we had 7 substitutes now, he'd just say,
it's 9.
9, is it?
Yeah,
well, I'm saying, if it told me
I mean, you can be forgiven at Everton. We normally have 2 goalies.
If it stopped at 7, my dad would say, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's,
I always...
have one team play on Saturday, play the other team on Sunday. I'm not trying to justify my dad's ancient perspective. I'm just saying they've altered everything we just said about kicking off at 8 o'clock. On a Saturday night, 200 miles away from the home supporters with no other way of getting home. It's like, come on, guys, you've literally tinkered with everything in this game. The coverage, the 24/7 coverage. Yeah, this seems to be sacrosanct. This 3 o'clock kickoff sound like the holy grail. You can't go near.
In a time when
it's bizarre,
attendances for lower league teams have never been bigger.
And teams are getting taken to and having points deductions, ourselves included, about income stream and relative income. Open it up. If you're going to be capitalist, be capitalist. I don't agree with capitalism in principle, but if you're going to do it, open it up. You can't then apply some
Premier League,
do something that benefits us.
It's a Premier League, like Netflix style app, will create 3 times the money they get from everyone at the moment. Therefore, it trickled down to the clubs a lot more money. It'd also make it easier, and they could also stop.
And they'd never have to worry about having to, put Sheffield United versus Luton on. Do you know what I mean?
For their
because that's on. It's on anyway, and whoever wants to watch it, and therefore, it's crazy.
It is mad. Sean Scott says, Dyche press conference bingo. They're a good outfit, back on the grass, quite obviously. Bigger picture, changed the narrative since I've been here.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Ugly goal would have been in there as well.
Ugly goal, definitely. Stubborn Oak Sound says, hey lads, just had a baby boy. We've named him Leighton. My missus came up with the name, and I just said, yeah, done. Still haven't told her he's my favourite footballer, in case she wants to change it.
Congratulations all.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray says, I live down in South London and posed the away attendance question to my mates who are Palace and Fulham fans, and they essentially said it's a cultural thing and they don't really sell out past Birmingham for those fans. That's
fair enough.
That's it, isn't it?
But that's the thing, we're basically in the middle, aren't we? So but you forget that, you know, if you're a fan of Brighton, every journey you do is a big journey. If you're Brentford, you're going north all the time. Yeah. You know, bar 1 or 2. It's a lot for
it's also something I've got to be honest though. I've never said this out loud before, particularly on with a microphone in front of me. But it's become a graft since Benitez. I've done this for most of my life. You know this, by the way. Me and you got friends because of the fact that I was going to away games back 20 odd years ago. And I've got to be honest, it's the stress elements of it. It's become like a graft.
It's more now, isn't it?
It's not about enjoyment anymore. I've had sporadic moments of enjoyment. Brighton away last season. What I said to you before Christmas, between about early October and December, early December this year, unexpected. But for the most part, the people who I go with, and I spend more time with these people. We added it up the other week, me and Dave Kelly, about I spend more time with these people because of the hours it takes
to get there,
than I do with my family at the end of any given
crazy,
year. It's absolutely insane. And none of us are really enjoying ourselves. It's to say it's counterintuitive. It is.
If you step back on it and
so it's
we're going to spend all this time doing something we don't even enjoy.
Being the case, actually, the motivation is not logical; it's emotional.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't. What you'd do is you'd find you might do it and your mate might do it, but 5 will drop out and it become then, and then they drop out. Well, that doesn't happen here. So it becomes what you said about cultural.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of adopted that. But if you're asking me, do we enjoy it? That's a separate question. And I've got to be honest, put my hands up and say, I haven't been for a few years. Moyes, for example, you were still working there for a little bit at the time.
Of it,
you was, and I used to love it because we were always even getting beat.
Yeah.
We'd still be in the game.
Yeah,
we had players like Cahill and Pienaar and Baines and Arteta, Fellaini, who could get us back into games. Those times are gone, and so now it's just like a drudgery it's the long march kind of thing. It's like one foot in front of the other. That's why I don't watch football on telly, because we're usually garbage. I'm listening to some ex-Liverpool player reiterating to me who's actually in the ground instead of in that thing, drinking coffee, watching all these results come up. I don't need him to tell me how bad we are.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch it again because I paid for the privilege of watching it live the first time.
I'm the same.
It's like,
Dave.
are you insane?
The mad thing is, somehow, like, you know, I've only been to one away game in the last 12 months, and that was Wolves away. And the only reason I got last season.
Oh yeah.
And the only reason I got a ticker for that.
I saw you.
Yeah. And the only reason I got a ticker for that was because I genuinely thought we were getting relegated that day. I felt like I had to be there.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I wanted to go. Luckily, we got the last minute equaliser.
In the car park.
Yeah.
I remember.
I dragged Ned with me, didn't I?
Did.
We both come out looking like lobsters.
Yeah.
Because it was roasting. And also those bloody fireworks going off 10 foot in front.
That's right. Oh, they melt your coat.
I went to Fulham last year because I thought we'd win there under Frank, and we didn't. We didn't really know. 5 on a Saturday night.
That's right.
Even that one, 5 on a Saturday night.
This year as well.
But hey ho. Geordie Tune for Life says, why is Everton away at Newcastle or vice versa always a midweek night game?
Because they hate us, both of us, I think. Because it's happened too many times for it to be a coincidence. Literally, you can nail it.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. And neither of the teams, the fans I'm talking about, never mind the football teams, the fans, it does nobody any favours. But no, you're right. He's absolutely fine.
And he also says, Geordie Tune for Life, Bob Lord, the old Burnley boss, It's his idea. No idea why 3 p.m. kick-off.
It's like it's like putting the clocks forward, isn't it? It's like one of those things that nobody can tell you why they do it or why they haven't changed, why they haven't stopped it. It's the most stupidest thing in the world.
Chris Martin's granddad or something.
It's like, just leave the clock so we can have more sunshine. Well, the farmers, though, fuck the farmers.
It's dark in the winter. It's dark in the summer. It's not. Whatever. But anyway, there we are.
Just let the 3 p.m.s be shown, and everyone will get on with it.
Give it a year. Have 1 year.
And just have a look, and
have 1 year and see how it affects it. And you know what? If it does affect it,
you can change it.
In a time of austerity, new revenue streams are the holy grail. Honestly, they're literally you've hit the gold. So to not explore it just on principle because of some archaic.
Well, put it this way, Dave. Right, you went to Bournemouth. 1,000 fans in there, and. What you're saying is all the rest of us are not allowed to watch it. Well, how mad's that? You're not allowed to watch a game.
Also, these are the same people complaining about illegal revenue.
Yes, streams.
Streaming sites.
Smashing down people's doors and giving them 3 years.
What is it you want here?
This is like, know what it is, though? This is what's mad about it. It's exactly the same as what happened in Chicago when they wouldn't sell ale.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they realised there was profits in it. No, but as soon as they realised there was massive profits, prohibition soon went away.
Now they all speakeasy.
Yeah, and that same way that they've legalised weed.
Now they all speakeasy.
Same way they've all now legalised weed.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. There's money in it.
Yeah.
So why aren't they getting the money out of it? It's mad.
It is counterintuitive. It is definitely, certainly. But I think as time goes on, you just mentioned Germany before. They're going to start. Somebody somewhere is going to say, "Listen, you can do what the hell you like, and we'll just opt out of it and do it ourselves." They almost started the Super League, by the way, boys.
Yeah.
So there is elbow room for manoeuvre.
I just think, like you've just said, stop cry-arsing over illegal streaming sites then and go, we'll make it ourselves and we'll create 3 times the money we make now legally, and everyone will go, I'll pay. And
when you do,
I'll pay 20 quid.
When you do, the first thing you do is make all kids complete kits for children under 15, £25 maximum, because none of those are paying your wages. It's just profiteering, obscene.
We always say
profiteering.
England kits for 150 quid.
And then it costs 15 quid for the badge.
Yeah.
And another 15 quid to put the name on it.
Tell me about it.
25 quid maximum, shut it down. Or
everyone's getting them from China now. Dave. It's the same thing, isn't it?
That's illegal streaming.
Exactly.
You're putting branding on everything to tell everyone who owns it. It's literally counterintuitive.
My dad said that for years. He said, you buy a T-shirt and all you're doing is advertising the people who made it.
Well, you are, aren't you? That's what it is. It's bonkers. That 15 quid for none, Drax stings me for it. I'll have that now. Can you get me the Premier League badges as well? Like, what?
This is like 15 years ago, but that's how Neville became my mate. I interviewed
charging you for putting
we
badges.
We had a website, me and you. I interviewed him on a Friday night, and 7 o'clock. It's supposed to be an hour. He gave me nearly 3, and the fella, he was speaking at a thing. And a fella come in, losing his shit altogether, going, get on stage. And he was going, I'm just giving in. He proper flipped. The next morning at 7 o'clock, he rang me up and started quizzing me about how much does this cost for kids? How much does that cost for kids? How much is a kit for kids? And I was like, well, I don't know. Mine's kind of grown up now, and I don't know. But because of the fact that we kind of had a similar mindset, I'm still working with him. We done a kind of loach thing, like,
sort of thing. Yeah.
So my point being, it brought us together. This is my hero, but it brought us together on a level over and above, or certainly inclusive of, but over and above Everton FC. It was a wider concern, and it's never changed.
No, they just rinse everyone they want every last penny out of everyone, and what's the most hilarious thing is players' wages continue to rise instead of the clubs just going, no mate. On Mbappe, 800 grand a week.
What they'd do is they'd say, you can't in a capitalist society, but you gerrymander everything else, but you can't touch that. I keep saying that the term counterintuitive, but it literally is counterintuitive. It's like the Chinese being communist one minute and then rampant capitalist the other minute. They straddle both sides of which particular debate they're talking about. It's not good.
No, absolutely it isn't. Right, I think that's I mean, there's loads of people talking about how long it takes. Abigail, I'm in Devon. It takes 4.5 hours on the train with 2 changes and 10 hours on the coach to get to Everton.
That's
My
obscene.
disabilities, football grounds are hard for me.
That's grim. That's just grim.
To go and watch a game of footy. And when they move it around and they just put it on at any time. I mean, this Brentford game, how can we be, 9 days away from it? Brentford's the first one, isn't it?
We're only fortunate.
Is Brentford or Forest first? No, Forest first, sorry. So we're 2.5 weeks or something away from it, and no one's got a clue until next Tuesday night or Wednesday night, whatever time City play, whether or not it's getting moved. So when that decision's made, the game will be 10 days away. So it'll go from Saturday. What is it? Is it going Saturday to Sunday?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? So it's okay for us. We're at home. And we
but
go,
it's not all right,
but it's not because Brian's
just traveling from. But it might need. Who's to say on the Sunday you've already booked a christening or you've got something planned with your kids or whatever.
Or you're one of those families who don't all live under the same roof and you're separated. So you get this much time with the kids and that much time with the kids.
And you want to go to Matson, and it's not easy to just go.
No, but the kids have been like, Dad, you said I could go.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying.
It's not me.
It's not amicable.
Or Mum, whatever. It's like, could be either side. It's just not good. It speaks to, again, like we were talking about the points deduction, it's improvisation. They're just making it up as they go along, to be honest with you. But at the behest of outside parties, in this particular instance, about the TV companies and the broadcasting rights. It's ridiculous rank.
People might need to change shifts.
Nobody will, won't they? We'll be sure of it. I mean, John Blaine, who's obviously season ticket holder and all that, he is going to a wedding on the Saturday, the Forest game. So he give his tickets. He's got relatives coming over, so he said you can have them 2 tickets for the Forest game.
And now it's been moved.
He's moved it to the Sunday, and he's back. So now he's still give them. He's managed to get 2 from somewhere else, but he was like, I mightn't even be able to go to match, and I'm a season ticket holder because they've moved it because I guaranteed these tickets for this person. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, that's just one example. There'll be loads like Brian. You know, do a book the flight that time, do a book the flight this time. No,
I was with the Norwegians and the Irish thingies last week. I don't know if you've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them. They came up to me.
Came to the food bank. And that's like a holiday. You plan it like a holiday.
Yeah, of course.
And we take it for granted that all I do is turn up there.
Just walk,
but on that bus where I go on now, it's the kind of club bus, and there's disabled people on. Dave Kelly's on a stick, run over by the food bank wagon, and I'm laughing about that. Ironically,
that he really runs bad.
It was really, really bad, and Georgie's in a wheelchair. We like, it's not good for these people, honestly. But there's no care to look at and expect that sort of detail from an institution whereby they can't even sort out what time we kick off.
That's
an archaic thing. If it was Bob Lord, that's the 60s and 70s. He was gone by the late 70s, Bob Lord. Anyway, it's not good.
Absolute madness. Right, big thanks to Dave for coming in today.
Last time,
Yeah. Oh, you didn't get. I'll give you the thing now.
Days, nothing.
So, do you want to shout out the food banks one more time before we go?
Do. I would ask that if you, particularly at Goodison, if you're going to turn up, please go past. It's on by the fan zone. It's in the corner of the gate at the entrance to the park, and not if you go through the fan zone, the lane. Goodison Avenue, it was called, wasn't it? I think back in the day. It's on that corner there. They'll always be present. There'll be a few people around, and what they do, or the concept how they help society, is magnificent. However, we're going to get to the end of the season shortly, and you'll have nearly a 2.5 month period where 38,000 people aren't walking past with a can of soup or a thing of coffee or toilet roll or toothpaste or whatever it is. You don't have to bankrupt yourself. Just take a minute, think of somebody else, be socialist in your attitude and think, do you know what? I've got a little bit more than these, so I'm going to pass it down the line. It's good karma, if nothing else. Please do it. Yes, we can.
There you go.
That's because of the cans. Just
clarifying it. Fair play.
Yes, we can.
Sound. Okay. Right, me and Ped will be live at 2:45 on More Than a Game discussing the Champions League and the new semi-automated offside rule, which is coming in. Well, not offside rule, offside technology, which is coming in to the Premier League next season. To be honest, it's about time it coming, because it means they're not drawing squiggly lines and the decision's made within 3 or 4 seconds. I'm all for it.
I used to like the bit with the linesman put his flag up. But
that was good, yeah. Right, see you later. Bye.
Peace out.